Now I invite you to see this universal story pattern through a historical reference of Abraham's story. And in Genesis 12 and 14 and 15, we can see Abraham's story. Abraham is the ultimate pilgrim. Abraham desired to receive the blessings of his fathers, Noah and Enoch, Methuselah, Canaan, Enos, Adam, and Noah's sons who carried down the patriarchal birthright lineage. He desired to receive those blessings they offered in their responsibilities. And there's a whole another story there that we could look into and see at this point. But he desired those blessings for himself, and he knew that this was part of his path. Because he desired them, he sought God in what to do, and he received it. There are certain trials, no doubt, he had to go through. His father was trying to sacrifice him to the gods of the Egyptian empire. Because his father was part of this priesthood, the Egyptian empire actually inherited the false counterfeit lineage, because one of Noah's sons went in to Noah and replicated the garment, and then Ham's descendant Nimrod used it to be the ruler. So Nimrod was the first to stand up in power and saying, I have this garment, I am the power. And it was very a counterfeit to what Noah and Adam had been passing down. And this blessing, or the coat or the garment, was being used to rule man and to stand in a power over mankind. So the Egyptian empire had the entire structure and order with its own priestcraft and its ministries, and they had their temples. And this can be seen in the Egyptian temple walls. And they had a similar teachings and structure in their language as the original people of the ancient Hebrews, and with their scaffolding of their government. So Abraham's father was a part of this empire, because before Egyptian empire had fallen, all the descendants from Ham, Noah's son, and all of their earliest uncles, and it went far across the land to the Babylonian area. So you can imagine the Egyptian area just expanding across, larger than Egypt is today. Abraham recognized that there was a true source and said, wait, I want it. I want this birthright, this blessing from the true source, from Noah, Shem, and Melchizedek's source. And he does something. He makes commitments enough so he can become, and he becomes the heir. And as we are taught in the Bible, he goes forward and becomes a follower of the order of the Most High. Abraham's father then tries to offer him as a sacrifice in this counterfeit satanic cult, not the way Adam was taught by the angels. Of course, that would be a huge betrayal and a trial that he had to go through. Okay, here we are. But an angel came and stopped the priests so Adam could escape, or so Abraham could escape. He was led to the northern land of Canaan, which is why he's called the father of the Hebrews. Later, his father changed his ways, and Abraham was able to bring his family to a place where he could preserve them. He makes further commitments with the one true God. He builds an altar and makes sacrifices and offerings, and goes through many other experiences. He has to go into Egypt again, and then comes back with Lot and says, you can have the better lot, the land, Lot, and I'll have the other, which was not as beautiful. And he had an entire other journey with that part of his life. As we put his life in this course or this cycle, we can see that he had been going through what he'd been going through as he overcame these struggles. These trials and tests that he went through are especially a great example for all of us. As he desired to know God's will, he was asked to offer his birthright son, Isaac, up as a sacrifice on the altar, God's altar. And it was no doubt a deeply impressed fear and a test of faith for him, for God to see if he would follow God. And that trial of being asked to sacrifice his birthright son when his father tried to sacrifice him, it became very real to him and very deep and personal, I am sure. After it all, though, he was promised that all his seed would be blessed because of what he went through.